Night.
Well then.
During the week, I work all day, Chase, and then I work a couple hours at Toys R Us, and then I work overnight at UPS.
Wow.
Um,
Yep, been
let's
fun.
go.
Yeah,
So you just
that overnight shift at UPS was pretty popular while I was in college.
Yeah, I'm long out of college, but extra money for the holidays will do me some good.
you know,
Yeah.
I figured as much. Well, right on. So we'll get this going that way. Jeremy can take another nap here before he has to go slogging back into the week. We left off a while ago. Does where does everyone remember where we left off?
I remember something about being in New York.
No, that's pretty accurate.
The Sabbat were laying siege to New York. We were way outnumbered. I think we cleared a house or two,
Mm-hmm.
and
We found some people back from the, oh gosh, court.
yeah, yeah.
It
The court was
wasn't.
the last thing that happened, I think, right? We chased some
Right.
people down.
We chased some people who were following our people who left court.
Yeah, and Elvis escaped or something too.
What's it? What was the last part, Jeremy?
Like an elder escaped or something.
Yeah, Polina had been observing the court, and you guys had tried to track down a few of these individuals had been observing the court, spying on it, and Polina had escaped through shadow form, while the rest of you managed to take out a few at the court itself, and then track some to an alternate location. I remember that's what we had last left off. So what we'll say is it'll be a few nights from where we last left from the last session, just to kind of make it simpler for us. We'll say everyone starts at full blood, also just to make it simple for right now. Go ahead and give me your nightmare roll, Rufus.
Yep. Yeah, bring up Dice Stream. I haven't done that yet.
Okay, yeah.
It looks like I'm okay for now.
Indeed, it's funny. I don't think I think that's only backfired on him once, right?
I think maybe twice, and one of them was like one of the first nights we had. So that was
That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. So, at least for this evening, you're nightmare free. The stress, or at least the calm before the storm, has allowed for you to sleep a little bit easier. To recap, what's kind of happened for the NPCs over the last few days is that Lucen, after securing all that money, has tried to organize what shambles of the neonate population remains in Manhattan and the four boroughs into an organized force. A lot of the money she was able to secure from her sire, and again from Queen Anne and some other European elders, is helping make that happen. But it's becoming apparently obvious that you guys, the outnumbered aspect is a little worse, as the amount of kindred who either remained or were actually in Manhattan was higher than thought. So the concern now for the masquerade is pretty paramount, as even though Sabbat are being incredibly mindful and not into their old ways, there's still just such a large volume of kindred in the area that it's starting to cause a great deal of trouble. There isn't any necessarily reports of any kind of problems with any Camarilla vampires, but the communication has been kind of spotty as far as who's remaining and who's still kind of maybe it was sticking around the peripherals, gone to a surrounding city, or it has just abandoned it altogether. Lucen would have been available to the rest of you, as it seems Damien has apparently gone missing. Rook would have reemerged maybe about a day or so ago, having felt secure in the idea that Harlem was back under his control. And now that basically his power base, his kind of mainstay is secure, he's more apt to being able to help the group and be able to function a lot better. And not to mention be able to use his resources throughout the city a lot more easily. So he's been around and just would have been assisting Rufus and Apollo and Raj with the organization of the lictors and the volunteers and the legion of Gould investigators to try to figure out what's going on. And it's much of the same. It's kind of the information I gave you, Seth, from the stuff you had asked from the downtime stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of spiraling out of control, and there's kind of a sense that it's going to pop off here pretty soon.
Okay.
As I had, I had one thing I can mention is that Lucen is pretty convinced that Polina has reached out to her to try to come up with terms for warfare, as he is concerned about the masquerade to some extent and the volume of vampires that are going to be engaged in the fight. And it seems like much in a kind of a medieval kind of fashion, he wants to make sure everything about the battle's laid out beforehand. Lucen has mentioned that she'll want the rest of you to go with her to the supposed meeting. It seems pretty legit, but you never know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on the agenda for later in the evening. But otherwise, you guys have most of the evening to yourselves.
Okay.
What would Rufus like to do?
He would like to talk to Raj about how confident he is in his abilities to maybe send out some text messages to these burners that the Sabbat seem to be using.
Okay. What would Arthur like to do with this early evening?
Arthur would just like to check over the gains that we've made so far, and kind of form his own version of a tactical line for where we can afford to draw back and where we need to strengthen our lines.
Okay.
He'd probably be in whatever Lucen has that passes for a war room.
Okay. And what would Natalia like to do?
She would be trying to figure out if she could get a meeting with Catherine. She needs to chat with her about her friend Ramon and her message from Sire about the Harbinger of Skulls.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'll do the more tactically one, the one that doesn't have a lot of role play, and will help maybe make other decisions. So, Jeremy, Arthur, I want to say it's the Lucky Seven. Motel and Hell's Kitchen has basically been taken over by her security force and y'all. And what would pass for the war room, where all of the information Raj and Apollo and Rufus have kind of gathered up, is all together in that particular spot. So a big map of Manhattan and the four boroughs, and in a cliche-esque style, pinpoints of where all the mass havens are believed mass havens to be. And as he looks at the map, are you still there, Jeremy? Your screen is frozen.
I'm here.
I'm gonna do it. Okay, I just want to make sure you're still there and hearing me. I'll keep going. So as he's looking at it, the sense of mass or volume of the kindred in Manhattan kind of finally sets in. The Sabbat have completely overtaken most of the boroughs themselves in and around the New Jersey shore. they've left Manhattan alone, although at this point they're starting to encroach in on some of the um, more rundown areas. As I was just mentioning, Rook had just taken kind of control back of Harlem, but they had been a fair amount of Sabbat in Harlem itself. Drawing any lines of attack is going to be hard. It's going to even be hard for the Sabbat to probably even control their own forces at this point. Kalina's likely going to have to make a show of an attack, try to wipe out as many Camarilla kindred as he can, and kind of let the wave overtake the city before trying to do anything about getting the city back under control. So the one tactic that might behoove the Camarillas to actually act a little bit more like the Sabbat and not help him take the city as easily. But of course, to retain the city, you can't poison your own wells. But it's almost kind of the tactic you're starting to approach.
I would never advocate a mass embrace, so that's out of the question.
Yeah.
However, I may advocate a promotion of some of our most trusted but expendable ghouls.
It's a tactic they used in Manhattan and it'll probably be employed again. Is Arthur offering himself up as a surrogate father?
Yeah, he will. Of course, Lance is not on that list.
How will Arthur explain to Lance why he's not on that list? Like, why isn't he getting the gift? We could do that scene.
It's too important to my personal effort than to be expended as a soldier upon the war. His position is an exalted advisor, not as a common soldier.
But I am a knight, my lord. I would rather die on the battlefield. I understand my importance to you, but my only real glory will be there.
And you will do well in my service.
Very well, my lord, my liege. So Lucid would offer up a few of her ghouls that she thinks would make excellent people for the Embrace and would prefer a much younger vampire controlling them or being their father, so that will work out. Is there anything else in particular you want to do with your time with her or with them? Now we have that information.
The ones that would be picked above all others would be the ones who had exhibited some martial skill and perhaps a bit of recklessness.
Okay. Well, most of them are ex-soldiers, so they all have some degree of martial skill, and she picks some of the ones that will suit, I think, Arthur's need as being reckless, but yet have a sense of loyalty. We'll hop over to Rufus with Raj. This is about the time Raj wakes up. He's a pretty late sleeper. Rufus can go ahead and just give him a contact or a call or meet him somewhere. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I'll probably just meet him in person.
Okay. He's probably at the Lucky 7.
Yeah.
So he'll be in the same room that Arthur's like staring at the map on. So you guys can overhear that conversation. Yeah. But go ahead.
So Raj, we got to do something to cut their numbers, man. And I got kind of an idea.
All right.
So
shoot.
Can you make their phones? Can we send messages to their phones?
Yeah, that can be done.
Grab back, guys.
So the young ones especially are chafing under the rules, the new rules. I think it would be easy to convince them to meet for some of their old rituals.
All right, I see where you're going with this. So, but how are we going to get a hold of their numbers? We just going to use the burners?
They're throwing them away. We could just sell them back to them.
That might work. Yeah, we're out to use Melissa. I don't think don't think anyone's got the kind of pull or money for anything like that. Otherwise, it'd take some.
They just buy them at like Walmart or whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure we could. I mean, they can't be too slick. If we send in the right people, maybe we're not so worried about them coming back. But if we send in the right people who are hustling some phones for them, they'll probably go with those just as well as anything else.
Yeah.
In some ways easier, since it's not like some of we could sell them to the ones that really can't even go into like a convenience store, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd be great. We need to pull some of them out and hit them when we won't have any losses. Bring them to a warehouse we've booby trapped or something.
All right, well, I'll start talking to Melissa as far as making it happen. And I know we have a pile of them to sell, so I don't think that's gonna. It's not like we don't have the ones to go on. So let me talk with her and make it happen.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to do anything else in particular, Rufus?
No, he probably study the map like Arthur.
Okay.
Try and pick some lines and places to fall back to.
Right on. We'll hop over to Natalia then. Natalia, you getting a hold of Katerina is not too difficult. And as things are the tension is building up, she's a lot more available to speak with y'all if nothing else. She would designate one of the Elysiums to meet at. It's probably just a small art gallery. It helps maybe some of the more rising artists, so it doesn't get a lot of traffic, but it has some a rather nice space and it's quiet and out of the way. So somewhere in Midtown.
Okay.
Probably near Greenwich Village. And so you both meet. Again, Katerina the Wise, she's a middle-aged Milesian woman. She's very handsome. She has a crystal veil over her mouth that she wears. She has a more kind of traditional headdress, though she tries to make it more modern with a scarf and like a ponytail. But you'll be escorted into the gallery, and she'll already be in the back, just like looking at paintings.
She would give a small bow. Thank you for meeting with me. I have some information that I think is important that my sire has wanted me to communicate to you. We've done some research around the missing Nosferatu in our sewers. And he seems to believe that this is a harbinger of skulls.
Carla, are you using your headset mic or the camera mic?
The headset mic, supposedly, but let me see, is it not working?
It's having this weird, like, ocean effect every time you speak.
Let me see what I can do.
It's very soothing.
Let's see. Output. How's that? Any better?
Not necessarily better. We'll keep going for right now, but it's saying that you're using your headset mic.
Supposedly.
Hey guys, I am being called away for now. I should be back in a little bit, but if you want to go ahead and NPC Arthur, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, sorry guys. I hopefully be back soon.
All right.
Okay.
How's that?
A little better. So, you say that to her, and she'll move to a different painting, and she'll, without looking at her, looking at Talia, she'll say, "Harbinger of Skull." Can't say I'm familiar with that bloodline.
Neither am I, Your Majesty. But my sire says perhaps your friend Ramon might help us?
Ramon?
He says that we'll need help outside the Camarilla to take this creature on.
Rahman?
Perhaps my perhaps my inflection is incorrect.
Mm. That might be the case. If that is true, I will make sure to direct him as such. Do you know anything about this creature anything else that would be helpful? Description? Hunting ground?
Well, perhaps the sewers, since they seem to be emptying out.
Sewers. Might be difficult as he is a tall man, but I think he could make accommodations.
There's some conjecture that perhaps this creature is hiding within the Sabbat forces.
Well, I had heard rumors that the Sabbat had gained a great deal of support, but I thought that was just simply an influx of members, younger members perhaps, but not so much a bloodline. Well, I will make sure to speak with him and direct him as such, and if this is what has been causing some trouble, or could cause us some trouble, then I will make sure that we address it at first.
I, of course, am at your disposal. If I'm able to identify, or we are able to identify this creature, I am willing to try and take it down. It has taken many of my kind.
Is there a particular reason why it was targeting your kind?
Your Majesty, I do not know enough about this creature to say. I wish I did.
Very well. Well, again, thank you for alerting me, Lady Archon. The information seems pertinent to act on, if nothing else to explore.
As I said, if there's any way I may assist you, please allow me to do so.
I shall move to another painting. I have reason to believe that the meeting with Paulina that your Justicar will be having, I believe it will be authentic.
That is a good thing. I'm glad it's not a trap.
Yes, he's spoken to me already.
And how did you find his terms?
I don't know if I would call them favorable, but he found it rude that the Lady Justicar had not included my presence in this meeting. And so he wished to make sure that the terms were something that I would be acceptable or would accept.
Was it your wish to be involved?
I would not dare question Lucin's choices. I think there is a certain mistrust she has for my clan, but I do not think that prejudice extends so far as to deny me what would seem to be my right, but there is something about this arrangement between them, or perhaps it's a feud between them that might extend back to the first siege of Manhattan. But it is unclear. Nevertheless, I spoke with him. I am willing to accept most of what he is willing to put forth. But I would caution the Lady Justicar on allowing him to... He is fairly adamant about where the battle should take place. And he has stated that was due to safety, but I don't think that's his intention.
So she should not let him choose the ground he seeks.
Yeah, she would describe the part of Hell's Kitchen that Natalia knows. I mean, she's been around Manhattan enough times now to know Hell's Kitchen, a reasonable amount with well-traveled, the Merritt, or Open Road, I'm sorry. There's parts of it that make sense, and that's certainly an area that would make sense to have the fight. It's a little close to the heart of Manhattan, and kind of a little bit closer to some of the nicer districts that might cause a problem, but that's probably the only part of it that seems kind of suspicious to you. I don't, and this will, I'll switch back to Catherine, I cannot tell exactly what was his intention, but when I spoke with him about the war and what it meant and how he meant to engage us, there was something very quietly particular about that spot.
All right. I will pass that on to my Jessica.
I believe all his attempts to try to seem honorable are just that.
Attempts to seem honorable?
Well, speaking with me, meeting with me in a way that I did not fear for attack or assassination. I have spoken with him now on 3 different occasions, and on none of those occasions did I think he would have tried to take matters in his own hands, tip the war over in a matter of moments. For someone who seemed to know some of my movements and my locations, he certainly didn't ambush me with 3 nomad packs, which would probably be feasible. So he's behaved in an honorable manner up until this moment. I think that is its own gambit. He's lulled us into a sense of security, or that he has been simply acting out of hubris, which I do not think is the case.
I would agree.
But I'm not sure your Justicar has seen it as such as of yet. But that is simply my opinion.
I will do my best to pass that information on to her in a way she can value it.
Good. She will probably be more responsive to you than to me.
That's a shame, but I appreciate your trust and will do the best I can to bring the intelligence that we have to bear on the situation.
Good. And she'll move to the next painting, and she'll continue viewing paintings. I don't know how long Natalia will stay there with her, but she seems pretty like she's kind of taking a moment to herself to just do something that has nothing to do with anything else and just kind of look at art.
She would take a few moments and then realize she was probably dismissed and bow again and say, I must join my fellow Archons. There is much to do.
Very well. Thank you for this information. Please, if there is anything else, do not hesitate to contact me. I fear these next few nights it will come.
I fear so myself. Best wishes and good luck in this effort. And then she would leave.
All right. So where's Natalia heading back to?
Back to the Lucky Seven or whatever it is, the hotel group, and see if she can find her fellow Archons and perhaps find some time to speak with Lucind about what she has been told.
Okay. What about you, Rufus? You've just been working. I mean, like Raj is doing that and basically just been talking with Melissa.
Rufus is trying to make himself useful. He's kicked off this effort that he really can't contribute a lot to. So,
Well, you're in management, man. That's what you do. You delegate.
so he's kind of like staying out of the way, studying the maps, just hanging out for a while.
Okay. After a time, Lucin will. She will only be around for a short period of time. Earlier in the evening, or I should say, like when you think that she's waking up, and then she'll disappear pretty quickly. Just kind of touching base with you, letting her know, get a hold of her. Lucin, of course, would let you know, Rufus, that she's not so much allowed, since it's your right, but she's kind of given the nod to Arthur to embracing a few key individuals to help with the fight. She doesn't really agree with this tactic, as it's a little Sabbatish, but she can't argue with it, as they used it in Manhattan as well. That she kind of helped with that as well. She's instructed Vincent, her recent embracee, to actually embrace other individuals. She doesn't really want to deal with it. She would encourage you maybe to pick one or two individuals yourself if you're willing, but otherwise to pass.
Yeah.
Or passing is not going to insult her, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Rufus says he'll consider it. But
and otherwise she'll disappear, yada yada, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Natalia will eventually show up. At one point, Arthur will be there for a time, and he'll disappear to do not Sabbat things. But Natalia will show up at one point.
Rufus, how goes the plan?
We're pretty overwhelmed. But I think we have an idea, kind of a shot in the dark, to see if we can whittle down their numbers a bit.
That sounds promising.
Yeah, well, Raj and Melissa are working it as best they can. Not really much I can do to help.
Is there any way I may assist you?
We're just trying to get the Sabbat to reuse the burners, these cell phones they throw away. If we do that, I guess we know the numbers, so we can mislead them.
That sounds like a very a well thought out plan. I am impressed.
Thank you.
Well done. And of course, I am here to be in on the, is it called a hit, as it were, when it goes down?
I'm not sure what they call it these days. I would call it an ambush.
Yes. Well, I am here to assist you with the ambush once it is set up.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. So I'm looking at the map and going a little out of my mind.
I've had an interesting conversation with Catherine that I would like to share with Lucind. Have you seen her? Or know where I may locate her?
I do know how to reach her, but she left. She said something about allowing or encouraging embraces, but that she didn't want to participate. And
Mm. I was unaware of that going on, but I suppose if that's what she sees,
I think she sees it as a necessary evil. I don't know that I will be participating.
well, she smiles and like lets her mask drop for a second and says,
Yeah.
"I'm sure I will not be asked to participate," and then lets her mask go back up.
Rufus doesn't seem to be particularly fazed.
I think Polina is taking us for a ride, and so does Catherine. And she thinks the sham of his honorable negotiations for good terms are merely trying to set us at ease.
Well, I don't know what his game is, because he certainly doesn't need to set us at ease.
He's contacted Catherine and spoken to her about terms. It would seem, and he's proposed a ground for this fight, for this battle. She recommends that we do not take him up on it, and she points it out on the map.
Yeah. Is it anything special to me?
Rufus's time, Natalia has spent a fair amount of time in Manhattan and a reasonable amount of time in Hell's Kitchen, so she was at least familiar with the neighborhood and at least the area that he was referring to, and it made sense to her why he'd recommended for that regards. Rufus, although not familiar with Manhattan, has been spending an inordinate amount of time walking around and getting mugged in Hell's Kitchen to try to get a better sense of its layout. The one thing that you would know, Rufus, is that it has a lot of, it has like a really big intersections, and it has some of the largest side streets that are in Hell's Kitchen. So it's probably the most accessible spot in one of the more accessible spots in Hell's Kitchen compared to the rest of these areas. It's out of the way, but it's like in a commercial area that's mostly abandoned at night, but has to have the infrastructure for like trucks coming through it.
Yeah. It's very advantageous for troop deployment. Wide roads. With the numbers he brings, it will prevent us from creating narrow choke points and allow us to be surrounded.
Yes, I think I can see that now that you point that out. Catherine's suggestion is that we do not allow him to choose this ground.
No. Though I don't know what leverage we have other than not being there.
Yes, I'm not sure how these negotiations will go, or even how they're intended to take place. Although Catherine did seem to think he would be honest as far as his intentions of not ambushing this particular talk. He has not. As she has said, she has met with him safely. He felt it was honorable to speak to her about this, about the conditions of this battle, that she should be included.
That's strange. It's not what I would expect from one of the Sabbat, and I thought we were warned that he was not worthy of trust early on.
Yes, and she seems to think it's probably an act that he will perhaps prove false in the end. Uh, especially if he gets the terms he seeks.
Well, we should not let him pick the location. And regardless of his intent, I am not above ambush.
Neither am I, and this is the information I seek to make sure Lucent has before she begins negotiations.
Well, she's pretty easy to contact. I pass on the number so that Natalia can call her, or whoever's with her answering her phone these days.
You guys have direct ways of getting a hold of her.
Yeah.
Very well. I should do this promptly. I'm not aware when she intends to meet him.
I'm not either. I had assumed that we would be party to that.
I hope so. It would be foolish for her to go alone.
Yeah. Well, if you need some help or some company, I'm here, looking at maps, trying to figure out how we don't all die.
Hey Nick, out of game, did Joseph say not to mention to anyone else about the Harbinger of Skulls?
What I believe he said was just be very mindful of that information and really only tell it to the prince.
Okay. All right. I guess I'm going to try and find Lucen to make sure she has that information.
Okay. You'll get a hold of her pretty quickly. She's just trying to speak with some of the Primogen, Valentine, the Venture Primogen in particular, to organize things. She's at Club 21. She invites you to come there, or you can just tell her over the phone since she has a secure line. And do you just want to knowledge dump it to her, or do you want to say something in particular?
No, I would just make sure she knew that. I wanted to make sure I get that information passed on to her.
All right. And she'd be, thank you for that information. Make sure you're at the Lucky 7 in, another 2 to 3 hours. I'll be back there to swing by to pick everyone up, or who's there, hopefully, to go to the meeting with Polina. She wants to roll heavy because, he's been acting civil, but it's good to show force, even if it is an ambush. Or not an ambush, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Show force if it's not an ambush, yes. Even a show of force even if it's not an ambush. So, otherwise, like I said, she's also, again, you're welcome to show up at Club 21 if you wanted to be party to the conversation she's having with Valentine, but they're just trying to organize what semblance of the Venture clan they can to leverage most of the other kindred showing up.
I will be here waiting for your arrival.
Well, thank you as always, Natalia. Click. So you two will just chill there for a few hours until, I guess, Lucen shows up. Play some Parcheesi. Maybe Uno, some Go Fish.
Throw darts at the map.
There you go. So after a few hours, Lucen will swing around, and with that, Vincent will come down, and Rook will show up probably about 15 minutes before even Lucen shows up. Everyone kind of heads out in the armored SUVs and heads to this meeting place. It's the supposed this meeting place is near the where Polina's going to probably suggest that meeting spot, since you kind of know where it is already ahead of time. The meeting that has been arranged ahead of time by Polina with Lucen ahead of time isn't necessarily there, but it's close by. You all will seem to arrive first as your SUVs will kind of pull up through these dusty, newspaper and dirt-ridden roads of Hell's Kitchen. The pollution on the buildings and along the streets is pretty thick. There's not a lot of infrastructure cleaning in this part of town. Most of the buildings are bricks and ornamental office buildings, really there for utility and purpose and not for any kind of show. No parks, a lot of just concrete and alleyways and streetlights. And as the SUVs pull up into this area, the people who are driving them are, again, experienced military men, so they're driving up slow, doing like a ghetto roll up to the supposed meeting area, as these lights are just flashing the non-stop yellow and reds. As you get to where you're supposed to be about a block to where this meeting place is and no one's there, all the SUVs stop. And you're all in the same car as Lucen is. Rook, Natalia, Rufus, and Lucen. Vincent is driving your guys' car, and that was Lucen's most recent shelter. And Vincent gets a call. And he's just kind of not says anything, and he just turns to the back and says to Lucen, "Yeah, there no one's there. Our scouts that showed up early haven't seen anyone. Do you just want us to go?" Lucen just nods and kind of just shrugs and goes, "Yeah, we're rolling up." And so within a few moments, everyone rolls up and. Like you guys were going to an ice cream social, everyone parks right out in front, right behind each other, and it just gets out. And stands around in this industrial area at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Lucen turns to Rufus and is about to say something like, that way. She looks like she's about to point, and the shadows on the opposing side of the street enlarge, take a life of their own, and kind of roll out and back like a wave. And as they come back and recede, there is Polina with four other individuals dressed in a variety of different kind of modern clothing. Nothing too out of the ordinary, but certainly not street drabs that most of the Sabbat you've been encountering seem to rely on. As they move forward in motion and sync, almost kind of like a wolf pack as they approach Lucen. You guys do anything in particular?
I play the part of the silent muscle and stand where I'm supposed to stand and look mean.
And look mean.
Yeah.
I'd put up obfuscate before I got out of the vehicle, and now I'm just taking up a tactical defensive position and waiting to see how things go.
Okay. So those two groups, groups will approach each other, and as that happens, Lucen will stop and look to all of you and say, "Just wait here. I will go and speak with him." And as your groups kind of approach two by two, those two split off and get to about 3 feet, 4 feet apart. So they're pretty close, and they start talking to each other. The conversation they have is very polite. It's in Spanish, that being one particular thing.
Does heightened sentences let me hear?
Sure.
Okay.
And they're speaking in an old dialect of Espanol, much more of a kind of a Spanish version instead of a Mexican version of Spanish. And they seem to be conversing, and they're getting a lot of pleasantries out of the way. There's a lot of kind of form that they're following. Polina seems very interested in keeping to that kind of interaction as they begin to have a negotiation over the terms. And and he just basically flat out, at first asked for her surrender. Given the volume of the vampires in the city, It's just kind of numbers thing. She's going to lose. Lucen refuses. At that point, he leaves suggestions that they meet in a particular spot to minimize the damage, to minimize the blowback for the masquerade. Since if either sect wants to hold the city after this war, they're gonna need it to be quiet. And Lucen kind of, for lack of better words, just kind of teases him and makes fun of him for it. Like, oh, where's your philosophy on being the beast? Aren't you better than humanity? What happened to all this rabble-rousing? What happened to this, servants of the antediluvians, all this kind of nonsense? And he tries to give back a little bit, but she's actually quite good at wordplay and just kind of runs circles around him. It eventually gets him to the point where you're pretty sure she's trying to goad him into just taking a swing, he's trying to break everything that he's been trying to do. And there's a few times where you think he'd get close, like he kind of has that real old school nobility, you've just insulted my honor kind of look, but he realizes that's really just kind of exactly what she wants and just backs away. Through that kind of interplay, however, she kind of gets not so much roped into, but she kind of falls into the idea of agreeing to, yeah, we need to meet at one spot. We'll meet at the spot. It's fine. After kind of browbeating him so successfully, she kind of allows him this kind of out.
Oh man. Yeah.
Do you guys have any kind of reaction to that, or?
Did we not tell her not to do that? That was one of the things Natalia was going to say, but
she warned her about the Harbinger of Skull. That definitely happened, and I assume that she at least said something to the effect of what Catherine had told her.
Right. That's what I thought. That was the information dump I had with her on the phone. Right, was to talk about everything Catherine had asked me to relay to her.
Mm-hmm.
And I did I make that she understand that when I told her that?
Yes. She did understand that Catherine said that it would be unwise to give into some sort of terms as far as the location. And when you were talking about it, it was stressing about the Harbingers, but at least communicating the things that Catherine thought was important for her to know.
So
what you witnessed happen was basically you watched her goad Polina a bunch, and in the process of goading him and kind of almost getting him a rise out of him, he convinces her to that the importance of making sure we meet in a particular location is paramount. Because we don't want any kind of spillage, and if any of us react untoward, say frenzying on one another, we need to make sure that it's a very remote and out of the way location. And she just kind of agrees to it very passively, like, yeah, that's fine, we'll meet you there. It's it doesn't really matter where we meet you, we're going to kill you.
Oh man, so Rufus will spend a blood, because I think that's what it requires, to try and use telepathy to, scream no into Lucen's head.
Don't do it!
It's a bad idea!
It's actually it's a willpower point to try
There's
to
a willpower?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll spend that.
I want to be looking around and make sure, try it with Auspex and her senses to see if we have any, ambushes in the area that we should know about as well while all this is going on.
Okay. So you don't see any ambushes besides the individuals around the area. It seems that the people who are here are at least made themselves known.
Okay.
At least, and as you scream, you try to scream and kind of project a no or a negative aspect to Rufus to loosen as you try to like kind of push into her mind. She would probably allow it because of the telepathy that's going on right now. You could probably just even use Arthur's telepathy switch to just talk to her.
Oh, well, if he's got that up, then I definitely would have probably broadcast that to everyone. Yeah, like, no, this is a bad idea. We're going to get overrun. This is the exact wrong neighborhood. We need narrow roads.
When you start kind of projecting that kind of anger and that kind of correction to her, she just drops out of the connection.
Yeah, whatever. She can be pissed. She's wrong.
So they'll talk for a little while longer. When you say all of that, like in your mind, Rook will look over to you two and project back, like, how true is that? Why, what? Kind of that, basically, to the both of you.
If that's where we're meeting, we're in trouble. He picked
What?
that location, and, you know the city, right?
Yeah, sure. It's not the best place for a fight, probably. I don't know if it's necessarily better or worse for anyone. It's probably easy to move people in, but I mean, I don't know if that's probably bad.
They outnumber us. How many to 1? 5? 10?
Something like that. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not great. No. Do you think all of them are going to be here for this first fight, though?
I think they'll truck in a lot of them. And I think the rest will arrive quick.
Jessica has been made aware of our concerns. If she feels
Maybe she knows something I don't, but
that she can accept these terms, then we must back her.
So, as you guys are kind of having that little bit of conversation, those two will stop talking and turn their backs to each other and walk over to their respective groups. She'll turn and look to Rufus at first and say, if there is something you wish to communicate to me in the future, you will not elevate your voice again.
understood.
I do not think Polina has the wherewithal or the organization to bring all of those screaming hordes down on us in one place. It would break the very thing he's concerned of. I think it is a tactical mistake for him to determine the location.
I respectfully disagree.
That is noted. What we'll need to do is, now that we know where they're going to come out, we know where he will be. That's all that matters. I do not think this horde will stand up very long without its figurehead. It has been a calculated error on his part to put so much on him. If we can get him in one spot, I don't care where it is, or how many people or kindred he thinks he's going to protect him, our job will be to kill him.
Yes.
That, I think, we can agree on. How easy it will be, well, that we will probably not agree on. Still a nice cold silence as all the vampires like stare at each other.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting to this
pretty
guy.
pissed off, but You know.
Like, must not frenzy on Justicar. Rip's like just
You know.
kind of sitting there like, yeah, this is going well. He'll be the one to break the ice. So let's head back and at least start getting this organized, right? Listen. And she kind of has this kind of weird, faraway look in her eyes when she's staring at him and goes, yes. And she just kind of walks to the car. He kind of looks at her and then looks at you guys and does this, like, what's going on gesture.
Rufus just kind of says, shrugs. She's the boss.
Yeah. So you all get into your SUVs and head back to the Lucky Seven. I can't imagine the drive in an SUV with that group in there is very talkative or was very pleasant, but there was probably at least an air of maybe a little bit of trust because you guys were in a small enclosed area. And there's a bit of trust that has to go on with proximity and elder vampires, I imagine. So there was probably a certain comfort after this much time together that you could probably be in a small space together. Where now that comfort is definitely gone. And so the ride back just probably has that little air of just kind of, is the bruiser going to lose it in the car?
Yeah. He's, divides his time between glaring at the Justicar and staring angrily out the window and tapping his fingers very loudly.
So there's that. And Lucian just full face, like nothing's wrong.
Yep.
Like the same face she had on the way there. So you guys will head to the Lucky Seven, and as you guys arrive, she just kind of gets out, and now her movement seems a little weirder. She just kind of, not so much saunters, and floats is the wrong word, but glides to her room, where it's just kind of, it's like she's walking, but there's a little bit of that weirdness where she doesn't seem like she's kind of walking, and it's like just like a zombie walk, and she just goes into her room and closes the door. And then Rook looks to you two. Okay, he's like, okay, that's what. Has she done? What's up? Has she done that? Is that new?
I don't know. Maybe that's just what she walks like when she's upset.
She doesn't walk anymore. She just, okay.
I think she has some strong feelings around the death or the termination of our adversary. Perhaps deeper than any of us can know.
I think her judgment is clouded and she's making mistakes.
Yeah, she does seem like the obsessive type, actually.
But the ground is picked. The target is set. We'll just have to make sure we win anyway.
Yeah. Well, maybe Alistairs don't make the best Justicars.
Whatever. Let's see where Raj is on this whole phone thing. I'll feel a lot better if they only outnumber us 5-1 instead of 10-1.
Right. Well, back when I was breathing, I had to deal with all sorts of these jagaboos that I thought were causing all sorts of trouble, but they turned out to be Spot, and I was outnumbered by them and breathing, and I made it out. Like they say, an army of ants can take down a spider. I think that's probably true, but maybe we don't worry so much about fighting the whole army.
I think that is Lucian's point.
Yeah, except that I don't trust Polina enough to show up.
I guess we're only going to know about that one. he might hang in the back.
No. We got to find a way to get to him. In the meantime, I wouldn't mind thinning the herd.
All right.
I need to hit something.
Rook kind of takes a step back. You all right? You need to go trash a refrigerator or something? I can take you to a junkyard and you can throw something big around.
I'll be fine. Just need something to do.
Right. Well, I've got a patrol hog. I want you to come with me. Make sure no one's running around my territory. How about that? I could use the backup.
Glad to be of service.
And there'll probably be at least a fight. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
Natalia?
I'd be happy to accompany you if I could do any good.
Well, you never know who's going to be there. And again, so Rook just kind of takes you guys for a ride and kind of shows you around Harlem, and you get a sense of his home and where he's kind of grew up, and he tells you some stories about fighting Sabat when he was alive and showing you some of those places, and you get the sense he's really trying to occupy your time, and like, oh yeah, there could be a Sabat around that corner, Rufus. Don't chew up the like a Rottweiler. Don't eat the dashboard. It's okay, buddy. There's gonna be something for you to chew in a second. Oh no, maybe not yet. Hang on. So he's just trying to like wait you out a little bit. There is like a fight, but they're mortals. He just has to like help break up some stuff occasionally. So he'll let you be the muscle if you want to at least hit somebody.
I think Rufus was more saying, I need to hit something than actually needing to hit something.
Well, that's how a true gangster would misinterpret that, right? You want to beat up this guy? Would that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Buddy?
But like, with his conscience, he knows he wouldn't feel better, just like smashing a mortal to a pulp, right?
Like, all right. Well, you change your mind. You let me know. He just proceeds to beat the crap out of him.
Yeah. So Rufus just like sits there and stews and appreciates the effort on Rook's part, and he'll calm down eventually.
Right. The bruiser showing restraint as the venture kicks the crap out of somebody. Got it. So after it's probably getting on till dawn, and Raj will check in with Rufus and say, boss, I just want to let you know where we're at, because, I'll just let you know. Melissa's working on the people to do all that tracking and do it fast, but it's not easy. Otherwise, I got all the people set up and all the movers and shakers, as you will. We just got to make sure everything's ready to track. That's the longer part.
Okay. I know this is a rush. Thanks for your effort. I hope we get it done in time. I know Melissa said she's a little busy dealing with some bot cleanup, but she's making it a priority. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for the update.
No worries, boss man. Just let me know if you need something. You all right? You sound like you got that itch.
I'm okay.
You sure?
I'll be fine.
Okay, I'll stop asking. Click.
Rufus is like, I don't want to buy another phone.
Crunch. Okay. All right, so that will be that evening, unless Natalia wants to do something in particular.
Does she know anybody in the city who's got more occult than she does?
The Tremere, there's a huge Tremere presence in the city.
Some of them came from Boston,
that's right. From Boston.
They owe us.
I say where we did them a favor. Maybe you try and set up a meeting with them to talk with them about this Harbinger thing.
Sure. There's the Lord. I can't remember the gentleman's name. Lord. We'll just call him. I gotta find it again. But there was a Lord you knew who was going to become the kind of like he wasn't so much the. Was he going to be the High Regent? I can't remember now. It's been so long. To look back at my old notes. But yeah, there's a high-ranking Tremere that you could speak with. There's a few of them actually. and you basically want to try to arrange a meeting with them.
Yeah, I remember who you're talking about. I'm trying to remember his name now.
And there's one in particular, a younger one. I can't remember her name either. It's like a Triska, I want to say. I'm trying to find it. She had created there's a new path that was kind of saving the Camarilla from all this fallout. Let me see if I can find her name.
Damn, I have like everybody else's name.
I have Alexa as a Ventru.
Yeah, she was from
that was
Providence,
Ventru,
right?
Yeah, that was the Providence.
Yeah, Thaddeus was the guy who attacked. Eugene is the Tremere who stayed in Boston.
Eugene, that was it. Eugene.
Yeah. He stayed in Boston to be the Primogen, and the rest of them moved to New York City.
And Jeannie.
But
Jeannie. That was it. Jeannie.
Well, Jeannie's in Boston.
Oh.
Right, so it's not so much him. It was.
But there were some other people there. The guy who was the regent in, or Primogen or whatever, the guy in charge in Boston was moving to New York.
Right.
He was getting promoted in Boston.
Right, and it was kind of like he felt it was kind of like a demotion, even though he was getting promotion. Let me see. Yeah, well, at least you could basically make a. You can get an arrangement for a meeting with them and meet at one of the colleges that doubles as a chantry there.
Excellent. Yeah, I'd try and set that up.
Okay. All right. So, all right. We'll move into the next evening. So everyone lose a blood point. And Rufus, give me your roll, please.
No problem. Here we go. Whoa, lots of ones today. Looks like I'm a little bit troubled this morning. I think that's actually a botch, so...
What's your
Yeah.
difficulty?
Yeah. Well, the difficulty, even if it was 8, you know, I'm out. I had 3 ones in there.
Now, I can't remember what happens on a botch again. It's been a while.
Yeah, I can't remember the botch. I haven't lived through that one yet.
It was you're down a. It was down a die pool. Oh, I remember what it was. You said you were going to have.
I think I was going to have, like, kind of hallucinations.
And stuff like that. Yeah. So your like ability to determine what reality is right now is kind of not great.
Yeah, I think I'm still down the die. I think I just have additional, you know, visual and auditory confusion.
All right. So given that, what would he like to do as he wakes up from the clearly the previous night's information about relenting and Lucin kind of perhaps getting played a little bit into her arrogance and dealing with Polina, relenting that spot has kind of upset him a lot. And he had a lot of dreams of Pickett's charge where people were just dying left and right. Or what was that one where it was just the road that he was on? It was the most bloody battle in Gettysburg? I can't remember.
Oh.
One of them, at least. Antima or something? Antana?
Antietam,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just was
Probably
like...
thinking more of Pickett's charge, where there was the, the order that Longstreet thought was folly.
Right. So there's a little bit. That's probably true. It's probably a little bit more like that. So you feel like it's just history repeating itself all over again.
Yep. So he's freaking out a little bit. He may well not be down looking at the map, doing his thing, early. In fact, he'll probably stay in his room.
Okay.
Trying to regain control and failing.
Okay. We'll do a scene where Raj will show up and check on him, since those two have been working together pretty consistently. What would Natalia like to do with her evening? Just talk with. I found his name. It's Lord. Was it Roland Churchill or Roman Church?
Yes, that'll be high on her priority list.
Okay. So I guess we'll do the scene with Raj. The High Regent Asling Sturbridge would contact Natalia directly to arrange the meeting with Lord Cornwall Corlon. It's in one of the in the NYC, what's called New York University itself, one of their more esoteric libraries is where that meeting happens. Since that's a little bit more informational, we'll go with that first. Does she head straight there, basically? Does she do any feeding? Does she do anything special?
No, she's still pretty full on blood, so she would probably just head there.
Okay. When you get there, you're pretty sure, since you met Aisling at your coronation, so when you see her, she kind of nods and kind of out of respect and acknowledgement to you, and she seems to be that's who the person's waiting for. That's who they sent to wait for you, is the High Regent.
I appreciate you setting up this meeting for me.
It's my pleasure, Lady Archon. Please. And she walks you back, and as she walks back, is there any news that might be worthy of sharing?
I believe the situation is coming to a head. Perhaps within the next few days. The Chantries should be on their guard. If they are not already at high alert, they would be well advised to be so.
Well, something I will tell my Lady Archon and as well an esteemed member of Clan Nosferatu is that the Tremere have deliberately obscured their numbers. There's probably about 2 to 3 more of us here than what we say.
Well, that is welcome news, for I think every one of us will be needed in the battle to come.
At the time, it was a move to make sure no one felt we were trying to take over the city. Now I think people would be welcome to hear those numbers.
Yes, I believe so. Truly.
And
our backs are to a wall.
And as this is the new center for the Tremere's interest in North America, I doubt the Council of Seven will be interested in losing it now that they've reacquired it.
Yes, quite so. Are they communicating with Our Lady Justicar to make sure that they're well coordinated?
No, but I do know they have been speaking with Lord Roland to ascertain the true concern of what's going on, and to perhaps bring in some more Tremere Archons to assist.
Well, as I said, your assistance could make the difference between holding the city and not holding the city.
Well, our clan has a great deal of internal affairs that it must deal with, so many of our clan who do not hold the title of Archon are quite capable individuals.
So I understand.
And she kind of leads you around a corner, and you'll see Lord Roland. You guys are kind of in like a private little conference room. It's normally what would be designated for students, or like our student-teacher kind of meetings. So it's a nicer room with lots of wood, but there's a certain kind of narrative irony of you guys meeting in like a student conference room. And he stands immediately as you both enter and will bow very deeply. Please, hey, Natalia, please sit.
Lord Roland, thank you for meeting with me.
It is my pleasure. again, grateful for your service you provided without cause for favor in Boston. So I'm happy to meet with you now.
There are a number of concerns I think we should discuss. Perhaps your clan's participation in the upcoming events, which is, as I have been speaking to Aislinn a bit, could make the difference between the stand and fall of the city.
Yes, it seems that what was once a decision to ensure that our Lady Prince, Katerina the Wise, did not feel that her domain was in question or that some sort of political maneuvering was happening behind her back. We had decided to slowly reveal the amount of Tremere we wished to be staying in Manhattan and the boroughs, mostly in Manhattan area itself. And now it seems that concern has ended up being a boon for us. I will be speaking with Katerina more over the next few nights, but I have made her aware that there will be more support from the Tremere than she had anticipated.
I'm glad. I'm very glad of this news, and I am glad of your plan's willing participation in the defense of the city. It is incredibly important.
Well, we're in the process of setting up some safe places for individuals to meet at and gather at as this continues. As from what Katerina has implied, that she thinks that this could go on for some time.
Yes, I believe so. And needless to say, all your forces, all of your people, should be on the highest of alerts, taking the most utmost caution at this time.
Well, it is within the nature of our clan to be careful and precise. So I have no doubt that much of my clan will have been careful and will continue to do so. But I certainly appreciate again the friendly reminders. I understand that you have particular information that you wish to speak with me on.
I do. I'm hoping that you'll share some knowledge with me. Perhaps you are aware of my sire and his in-depth knowledge that he is able to share. He has a concern, I believe, that perhaps you will be able to enlighten me and perhaps may help assist the city overall.
Mm-hmm. Which is?
He has spoken to me of a creature he calls a harbinger of skulls, and that he believes that there is one in the city at work.
Go ahead and give me a perception plus alertness.
It's a little slow tonight coming up. But there it is. If it's a difficulty 6, I guess 2.
So you say that to him, and he just stares at her, and you have reason to believe that there's one in the city.
Yes, there has been a number of my clan missing from the sewers. Their unexplained disappearance and other factors have led my sire to this conclusion. I must confess my ignorance on what this creature might be. I'm hoping you may enlighten me, as your clan is so much more
He'll
knowing
just
of these issues.
raise his hand. I am a scholar of many things, and I am familiar with a reasonable amount of the bloodlines that are part of our culture, but I have not heard of this Harbinger of Skull. This is new, perhaps, of some kind. I am not at least familiar with its name.
Is he lying to me? Can I use my aspects to read his aura?
You can go ahead and read his aura, sure.
Oh, I don't know what that roll is. I apologize.
I think it's perception, empathy, difficulty 8.
That one's a little bit better.
But it's really hard to read auras is the problem. So you know that he's a vampire, and that his major emotional state is that of fear. Like, he's probably as afraid as maybe you've ever seen any kind of kindred before. It's not like he's pretty terrified. The kind of fear that's rolling around in his aura, but you wouldn't necessarily tell from his face.
Wow. Do you think perhaps there's anyone else in your clan who might have heard or may enlighten me on the subject? I'm afraid if we don't prepare, we will not be able to take this foe on successfully.
Well, what information do you think you'll ascertain by finding out about their bloodline? Perhaps that they have some sort of Zimisi weakness. If we destroy the soil, they will be more susceptible, something to this effect?
I believe knowledge is power, as I believe your clan probably would agree. That knowledge is power and can only help us to understand and choose more intelligent tactics against our enemies should we be educated.
Oh, of course. I wouldn't argue the fact that knowledge is power. However, when what you are seeking is unknown, you could easily follow incorrect information as far as find the secret to your success. I think it's wise to prepare and to anticipate your enemy, to know thy enemy. But if information cannot be found or known about a certain thing, I do not know if it is somehow relevant in that regards. You think that if we find out these harbingers of skulls, what their intent is with being in the city, with perhaps killing your clan members as they have, that we will better understand the Sabbat's tactics, or perhaps their intentions. That might be the case, and I certainly wouldn't, from what I understand of your sire and his information, that would never be in question as far as the validity of the claim or what it meant. But as far as its bearing on the Sabbat's tactics, it's only conjecture how much information finding out about these harbingers of skulls would benefit us. It is true that they might have a weakness, or if we know that they have some sort of unique power, as perhaps Polina's command of the shadows might best prepare for such things. I think it is best to always have a certain uncertainty when it comes to kindred in general, because it is difficult to really ever truly know anyone's true nature or what they're capable of, especially as they age. Though what's troubling about this information is that for some time now we have had reason to believe there was a ancient in the city. There are certain things elders of a certain millennium, as if you will, do. We are versed in these things and experienced in understanding how these creatures behave, and we were aware of something quite old in the city. Perhaps this is the same thing. This is hard to say. We have been concerned that this ancient will have some sort of concern in this upcoming war and might take a hand in it. It's hard to say.
Yes, I believe it would be difficult to say do we not know its motivations. And she smiles, just the slightest bit.
Well, the conjecture that you are putting forth is trying to find out who and what these people are, and trying to understand what they are. I could tell you about a dozen bloodlines that I've known about as far as why they were created or why they had come about, and they'd come into existence and died out just as quickly. As well as I know the Savant are more prone to having these kind of divergence. I know the Malkavians of their kind had a divergent bloodline for a time. The representatives of my own clan that have been joined the Sabbat have their own particularities. These motivators are things we come into understanding of them over time, but I do not know if their motivations will bring any bearings to our conflict. They do seem to be allies of the Sabbat. It does. It's the only process of elimination, and that, of course, makes them our enemies.
Well, very well. I appreciate your candid sharing of information with me. What your clan may or may not know about such creature. But it seems that you cannot help me. I appreciate your time and wish your clan all success in the upcoming conflict. But I know you and your clan are just as busy as all of the rest of us preparing, so I will not take more of your time.
Very well. And he will stand up. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for alerting us to this bloodline that is in the city. As far as its intentions and its motivations, as you say, we will endeavor to try to find out as much as we can as well.
Yes, I am sure you will. Thank you for your time, Lord. If Aisling, if you'll show me the way out.
She will walk you out.
I mean, she doesn't have anything to say on the way out.
As in?
I assume she doesn't say anything else. She just shows me out, and that's it.
She might. Yeah. I mean, unless you talk to her in particular, she's not saying anything. Yes. No.
Alrighty then. I take my leave.
Okay. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do next?
I guess I'm headed back to the Lucky Seven.
Okay. What's Rufus up to?
I think Raj was knocking on the door, right?
That's right. So we'll head to the scene where, after a few hours of the dawn coming and going, or I'm sorry, dusk coming and going, and Rufus is kind of sitting in his room. There'd be a knock on his door, and would it be open or closed? Would he respond to it at all?
Yeah, he probably respond and, head over and look through the peephole, see that it's Raj, will open the door, a crack, and, stick his head out and look around like he's looking to see if there's anyone else there.
Yeah, so I've tried to call you a couple times.
Rufus just still looks a little wide-eyed.
I just was trying to give you an update. What's going on? She's able to at least get a few of them tracked right away, so I got those out to some of the places we're kind of the most concerned about, or the places we thought would be easiest to get them in, and try to at least track them that way. So that's kind of happening. But if anything large scale is going to still take a couple days, but we have at least a few people we're tracking right now.
Rufus appears to see something and yanks Raj into his room.
Look at that. Okay. It's like as he does that, he's like, whoa, 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 and you toss him in or do whatever.
And they shut the door, and I'm like looking out the people. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. He just goes quiet. What the fuck, man?
They're almost past.
He'll go quiet for a little bit.
Yeah.
How long does he just kind of basically sit there like the whole time?
No, he comes back over. It's like waits. Like someone's walking past the door. He turns around. Okay. You gave him the phones?
Yep, they got their phones. There's only a few of them right now. That was hard enough to get as fast as we did. It's hard. It's going to be a couple days if we want to get anything more large scale.
I'll have to do.
Yeah. You all right?
He's like, he stops for a minute. He's like, did you hear that?
No. So you're not all right.
No. I'm fine. I'm fine. He does not look fine.
He's like, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. Okay, well, this is great. Yeah, well, why don't you stay here? Don't go anywhere, because, they're outside, so just stay in here, and I'll contact you when I know more, all right? Just write it out.
Make sure to wear blue. They'll think
Yep.
you're one of them.
All right, I'll make sure to get a lot of blue on me.
Overwhelming force on the ambush. No survivors.
No survivors. He just kind of repeats everything that Rufus tells him and just slowly tries to get out of the room with the crazy person who can lift a truck. So it's like...
Yeah. Rufus will let him out of the room. There's probably some, empty liquor bottles that he tried to drink from and then vomited next to.
Nice.
It's got a bed turned up over, blocking the window.
Right. Well, that way it helps protect from gunfire.
That's true,
So, yeah, he would try to get out of that room pretty quick.
Rufus will probably let him go and then, sit down in the middle of the room and, try and get the visions to go away.
Okay. So Jill, so Natalia will have access to Lucky Seven, and Raj will, when she sees Natalia, will kind of quickly come up to her and go, "Yeah, can you go talk to Rufus? He's
What?
kind of losing his mind a little bit in his room, and I think you're probably the only person who might be able to, like, hold her own against him if he starts swinging. So, could you maybe go up there and make sure he isn't going to do anything weird?"
Uh, sure. I, I, I can do that.
Oh.
I'll be. I'll just be a few moments. Thanks
So he'll
for
walk up. He'll
thanks
walk
for
up
letting me
with.
know.
Yeah, no, he'll walk up with you, and he'll just stay outside the door.
Okay. She'll knock very gently on the door.
Um,
Rufus, it's Natalia.
Natalia?
Yes, it's Natalia. May I come in?
Uh, yes, come in.
She opens the door very slowly and then closes it behind her.
So, like, Raj will kind of be leaning in, looking in to see if anything has changed. He's gonna like follow it as the door closes. Click.
Yeah, he stands up. He's trying to look like his normal self, but he's pretty unkempt. He's usually keeps himself well groomed and dressed, and he looks like he's a mess right now.
Rufus, how are you?
Uh, do you hear them?
She cocks her head and listens. Did she hear anything?
No. It seems unlikely you're going to hear the voices in his head.
Rufus is. We hear just like the cannon fire and gunfire screams.
Yeah, they're still screaming, Natalia.
I don't hear them. And I'm sorry, but I don't. I imagine it's quite upsetting. Perhaps your routine, my soldier, would help to bring you back to us.
We can't take the hill. It can't be done.
No, we can't take the hill. I agree. Let's not try and do that tonight. Tonight, let's try and just get cleaned up and get our heads together.
You don't hear them.
I don't hear them. I think
Okay.
perhaps your nightmares are coming to you during the day. I promise to stay outside the door, and if I hear anything, you will be the first to know. What I want you to do is trust me and prepare yourself for the evening ahead. You are not alone and you are not unguarded. They will not come upon you unawares.
Rufus looks at her dead serious and says, "I'm not worried for me."
I have Raj. We will be alert.
Okay.
And we need you to be alert and with us so that we can face the danger together.
I hope you're not the one I carry off the hill this time.
I hope not either. I hope not either.
I'll get dressed.
All right. We'll wait for you.
So
She just exits and goes out the door and closes it behind her.
And like Raj has been kind of leaning and listening. So, what's the verdict?
I think he's struggling. He's going to get ready for the evening ahead. We are standing guard until he's ready to join us.
So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I should probably, yeah. So Lucen hasn't come out of her room either.
I imagine this is disconcerting for you.
No, she kind of does this a lot when she gets really stressed. I just wanted to let you know she still hadn't come out because you kind of were really good with him. And I'm a little concerned that she might lose it during the fight. I've only seen her lose it like this when she was really worried about the one who shall not be named. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem. But given the fact you were able to talk him down without much trouble, just know that you might need to do it for her.
I feel inadequate to the task, but I would make the attempt if you thought it was important.
Usually I just write it out with her. You know, she doesn't listen to me. She really doesn't respond to anybody. Melissa has been one of the few people she's responded to when she was in that state. So usually we have time to write it out because we're just usually on the hunt. This is a little different. You know, and the last time she wasn't really in the forefront. You know, she was in the background. So at this point, Rufus kind of will be all cleaned up and will come out. Or was he still staying in the room? I'm sorry. That's
No, you know, he's gonna try and come out.
okay.
He recognizes faces, and you know.
You'll just see like soldiers on patrol. You know, his mind would try to intermingle things as much as possible. So it's like he's at camp as much as he's at the hotel.
Yep. So there's there's cannons off there, and there's soldiers walking around, but
Right.
you know, he still sees the people he recognizes and the doors that are really there.
Right, exactly. You know, the people, and some of the specters are probably just fine. Others are like, you know, half eaten out corpses. People he know died, and they're the ones survived. Maybe the ones who are okay. You know, things like that. And they're just, you know, everyone's talking, and there's, you know, at one point one of the soldiers goes into the, you know, the hotel office, and you're not sure if that was like actually a new hotel guest or a soldier, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so you two, Raj will stop talking as soon as Rufus comes out. How you doing, buddy?
I'll get through it.
All right. How tall is Rufus again?
I think he was around 5'10". He was pretty average height.
Right, and like Raj is like this tall, lanky Indian kid. He was almost like a little over 6 foot. So there's this kind of 6 foot, 19-year-old like terrified of the 30-something. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You okay, buddy? Not gonna frenzy on everybody and kill us all, right?
Not presently.
Okay.
I will be fine.
I'm glad you've joined us. It wouldn't be the same without you. Come, we have much to do.
Thank you for your patience. He's still kind of spacey and looking around more than at people when he's talking.
To kind of just take him a little bit by the elbow and draw him towards the war room.
Okay. He goes.
Raj will follow behind. And what's the general plan for the evening?
No, Rufus isn't really feeling up to making many plans.
Mm-mm. He's a little worried about the those damn Union soldiers.
Yeah.
What's Natalia up to?
She will see that it's probably of benefit to continue to work with Raj and see what they can do on the ongoing plans that they had with the phones and what else could be done, what else needs to be done to prepare.
Well, he wasn't really familiar with whatever business Lucen was handling, but he would assume whatever she was doing would still need to be being taken care of, even if she's not up to it. So trying to determine her business, and he will just kind of point to just some papers, and it's like it's mostly financial stuff. I wouldn't even know where to begin. And I was going to say, otherwise, it's Raj would just basically be in contact with Melissa, going back and forth, just trying to get those traces set up. You'll get more traces set up probably over the next few days, but otherwise it's just kind of more of the same. She's doing a lot of cleanup as far as making sure there's not a lot of spillover of vampire activity.
Hmm.
But that's a lot of that evening for them. Is everyone going to try to write out Rufus's bad trip?
Yeah. Rufus, in a moment of clarity, asks if they're they're able to walk up the food chain at all. If we found anyone outside of just some packs running around, anyone of importance.
The commands that are coming are still just kind of gather commands, but you would at least know that the focal point of all of the commands are coming out of New Jersey.
Hmm.
I kind of knew that already, but this information at least confirms that they're New Jersey burners that are kind of giving all the information, and they're still mustering people and telling them to gather. Though it does seem like they're positioning people more. So there's a lot more chatter about move here, move there, move here, move there.
Good. He'll try and pick some locations to maybe move some packs to.
Okay.
Maybe not tonight. He doesn't want to blow it on the first night.
But try to at least lay the groundwork of where to divert the tide.
Yeah, we're gonna try and before they attack, divert a bunch of them here and have it rigged to burn.
Okay.
Kind of thing, so that we don't have to have lots of soldiers there.
Fair enough. So between you guys can get that kind of stuff set up or starting to go, the money that you guys have available will allow for the explosion set up and kind of starting to figure out where you want to have that happen.
Hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, and he assumes that once we start hitting these things, they're gonna figure it out relatively quick. So, that's why we're not moving tonight.
Fair enough.
It's not because I'm not okay. I'm okay.
Right. No, totally. What's Natalia? Is she just kind of assisting most that evening?
She'll look at the financial stuff, and if she can make any heads or tails of it, she'd take action on it. She would try and see if she could talk to Lucent this evening.
Okay.
And perhaps under the guise of sharing what she found out from the Tremere, just about their numbers, perhaps that would be some consolation, some useful information for her.
Okay. So you'll head over to Lucen's room and you'll kind of knock on the door. There won't be any answer.
I will say softly, Madam Justicar, I have information that may be of use to you. See if I can get any.
Response out of that?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to be any kind of response.
She'll knock one more time, and then if no answer, she'll go.
Okay. Where would she head back to the war room from there?
Yeah, and she would see, since she figures she's not coming out, she'd take a close look at those papers and see if there's anything she could do to forward that progress.
Okay. So, does she have any finance?
No, really, investigation is kind of her strongest knowledge.
So yeah, she'll just look at them like they're, in a different language. It's a lot of just kind of dumb paperwork that needs to move around for mutual funds and stuff like that. So you're just like, I don't know. And you kind of spend your time kind of looking over those papers as Rufus and Raj kind of spend that evening trying to arrange that from happen. Arrange their diversion and burn tactic, I should say.
Yeah.
Would that be most of what people do? I mean, just kind of a little bit of planning and busy work. Wouldn't Talia do anything in after an hour or two of not really being able to get anywhere with the financial stuff?
Yeah, she wants to set up something with her clan members if she can get back together with them sometime in the next few evenings.
Okay, and
So
she
maybe
just
just set that in motion, maybe.
Okay. All right. So she'll try to get a hold of Uncle Smelly and Calvaros. Those are really Camarilla, Nosferatu. That these were in the city when she last checked, and try to get a hold of them to meet. Where is she staying these days? Is she staying in the sewers? No.
No, I assume she was probably staying at the
Like
hotel.
All right, fair enough. I just wanted to make sure I got that right, or had that just right. What is Rufus doing? Is that pretty much what he'll do with this evening?
Yeah, he's moving. Yeah, it's hard for him to focus and make progress, so it probably takes a lot longer than it should for him.
So, you're kind of working through most of the evening. Natalia, when she, steps out one of the last times to do some clan business, or as she steps out to do clan business, it's getting on till dawn, so it's the latter half of the evening. But as she does so, she notices the door to Lucen's hotel is just wide open.
I would go down there very quickly,
Okay.
see what the hell is going on.
You head into the room, and the room looks pristine. Looks like no one's really used anything in it. Her attire is there, so what the suits you've seen her in and things of that nature. There are a couple different small bladed weapons, some very strange-looking black stakes that have odd runes on them that are kind of very neatly lined on the table. But otherwise, there's nothing. There's no indication of any, at least even a vampire even being there at all.
Okay. I do a little check with Auspex and really look.
You're like, boop, 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 boop. You kind of look around. Are you just looking around? You're doing the spirit touch thing, or just looking around?
I might spirit. Yeah, I could spirit touch some things and see if I can get any information.
Okay. You do get at least the impression of her being in the room, and her being in the room for the last few days. There's a strange emptiness around her from the impression, to the point where you know that the psychic impression of the emptiness is because she's projecting emptiness, right? There's something wrong with her in that way, like something's like she's checked out somehow. and that's just kind of really strong of her psychic impression. And as that impression grows and grows and grows, there is a moment where you just see an image of her just stand up, walk over to the door, walk out the door.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Our fearless leader is MIA.
Well, I leave the room and I close it behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I go back to the war room. And is Raj in there?
Yeah, I was probably working with Rufus.
I believe Lucinda has left her hotel room.
Is that bad, Raj? We'll kind of show him up. How's that? Is that bad somehow? He's like, that's good, right? She left.
I don't think she's let anyone know where she's going. I'm not sure she was capable of it.
So she's like in a full-on state. Great.
I've closed and secured her room. There seems to be some very valuable relics or artifacts or weapons, I suppose, in there. We should secure and make sure no one else gets their hands on. And perhaps alert the rest of the Archons to be on the lookout for Our Lady Jessica.
Right. And he'll kind of get up and leave pretty quickly.
Thank you. How you doing, Rufus?
It's slow.
We need you more than ever now. So one step at a time.
He says we don't have cannons. I don't know how we can fight a war without cannons.
Perhaps we'll find some cannons tomorrow.
Where's Lucinde?
She seems to have left her hotel room for the evening. I think perhaps, like you, she may be struggling to deal with the upcoming conflict.
Oh. Wow. Lucky you.
She quirks a little smile. We need you all desperately.
Should we go find her?
I'm not sure we could, even if we wanted to. I think she'll be found when she wants to be found.
Well,
Could you find her, do you think? Especially in your current state?
yeah. Maybe?
I think perhaps we'll wait to see tomorrow evening. There's nothing to be done tonight.
Yeah. Tomorrow, I think we have to attack.
And we'll be ready. Right?
Yes. We have locations.
Good. Good. We will be We will be ready.
We have the money for the fire. We have the phones. We have the commands.
Why don't you show me? Why don't you show me what? Show me what you've done so far.
Okay. He walks over to the map and starts pointing out out of the way locations, and how they're marked with some kind of pins, indicating a number for a phone. And we're going to direct the more dangerous packs, or try to these locations. They'll explode. We won't have to lose soldiers. We'll use our money to defeat their numbers, and they won't be on the hill.
She listens and nods and tries to ask simple questions about the arrangements to get him talking and just explaining and kind of try and get his mind off other things.
Yeah, he seems like, some moments he's more clear than others. He plans to ambush and blow up as many people as he can, and it's an odd thing for him to be doing.
Well, and she's clearly trying to learn as much about the plans as she can in case he's not clear enough.
And he's happy to share. Raj can send the messages to the phones. The commands that go out seem to be very simple. Gather, move, meet. We assume attack. So we're going to try and move them to these locations, just like they've been moved to others. And then ambush them, and as violently and overwhelmingly as possible.
I think these are well done. Well done. And she just tries to get as much detail from him as she can.
Yeah.
So that she can help.
He doesn't hold back on detail. He stops periodically to, squint at the hallway or the back of the room, and, rubs at his ears or his temples, as he's trying to push the visions and the noises out and focus on the present. So it's a slow and muddling process.
She probably ignores as much as she can of that and just brings him back, just, with a question, tries to get him to just, instead, allows him to be distracted momentarily, and then just draws him back with some simple questions.
Yeah, he seems, the routine seems to help. Doing something productive and having something in the present to focus on, but he does get distracted. You have to pull him back, but he gets through it.
All right. So you guys talk for a few hours and try to get a sense of the plans, and allow Rufus to find some grounding through speaking about the next few nights and what that means, and how those arrangements are coming about. Is that what you'll both do for pretty much the rest of the evening?
Unless something else comes up, yeah.
Right.
All right, so you guys will spend your evening trying to cover those plans. Raj will come back in a few hours, saying that he's contacted everybody and let them know that she may be wandering, and just kind of be mindful of her if they find her, to look for her. Otherwise, he was getting tired, so he was going to pack it in for the evening.
Yeah. Has she done this before?
He'll say like, she's spaced out a few times. Most of the time, it's when we're on the hunt and it's gone bad or it's getting worse or she can't find things. She gets this way, but it's always been, dealable because we never had a looming threat. We've always been kind of the pursuer, not the prey. So I'm not sure really what to do this time. She usually just deals with it, so I don't know if it's a problem, but I don't really know how bad it is right now. She could just be like looking over the bay for all we know right now, as the sun comes up, I suppose. Or she could be in in the Ritz Waldorf Astoria for all I know right now too. I don't know.
She didn't take a phone?
No, I mean she hasn't at least answered it. If she did.
No. You can't do that thing where you see where the phones are?
Like, where she's tracked at? No, I mean I could try, but it's secured, so I doubt I'll be able to really find her through any kind of like internet thing.
Oh.
Yeah, she's kind of like, unless like short of just summoning her to here, I don't think we're gonna find her tonight.
Oh. Rufus kind of like, oh, I could do that. Do you think that's safe?
It may not be.
Safe? What do you mean?
Well, how close to dawn is it?
It's a few hours, though. Out of character, someone doesn't kill people when you summon them through the day. That's not
Oh, okay.
They don't have
She
to like
would try and do
follow
that.
through the day or something. No. She'd just stop wherever she was, and then that'd be it.
Yeah. Well, in her state, you never know.
You never know where she'd end up stopping. That might be more of the concern.
Yeah. She might just stop and decide to watch the sunrise, so I could try.
Perhaps tomorrow if she's not back.
Fair enough. Wouldn't want to overstep. She's already a little pissed off at me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever known anyone who's summoned her besides her sire.
It could be dangerous. I think perhaps we should wait and see if she turns up tomorrow, and then make a decision.
Well, as morbid as it is, we'll know if she dies. And all the ghouls will feel it for sure.
I don't mind. You have to hide it under the camera.
I just didn't want to I didn't want to do this.
Oh, okay.
Like right on the mic was more what it was. Like, whoops, not on the mic. It's more sound discipline than anything else.
Okay.
I failed miserably twice.
Anyway.
So that's probably a good enough place to stop for the evening after I've completely derailed any kind of tension with my lighter talk. We'll say 4 experience points for the evening.
I have sense of experience. Maybe I need to buy some occult.
So I guess I had hoped that Jeremy downplays Arthur's martial ability, but he's actually pretty handy in a fight. So I keep wanting to try to have all 3 for the actual siege, but it never seems to quite work out. So we'll maybe just have to move forward if someone ends up bowing out next time anyway.
Yeah.
Is December 6th work for everybody?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay. So I think I'm gonna just say on a meta level, the siege is going to happen on the 6th. 2 people or not, or 3 people.
Hopefully all 3.
Yes, we're gonna move forward on this bad boy and wrap up the campaign hopefully by the end of February. There'll only be a few more sessions after New York, as you guys deal with the one who shall not be named. I can't ever say his name. It's the Kid Morale T or whatever. So,
Don't know who that is.
yeah. December 6th, same time, and just let me know if something changes for you.
Yeah, time works for me.
Okay.
My calendar is completely empty out that far, so.
No. Okay, so there won't really be any downtime as we'll just move into the next night, or the next few nights, as it were, and just do with the Siege of Manhattan.
All right.
Right. Well, take it easy, brother. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Have a
you
good
guys too.
day.
Later.
Bye.
See you.